Yes, we are still on this morning on ITV, your program of choice. We are cruising on the wing of Nationalism and You. Recently, there has been suggestion that there should be Okada ban all over Nigeria. Then we ask, if you ban them all over Nigeria, if you ban them from all over Nigeria, do you have alternative employment for those who are earning livings through it? Have we taken that into consideration? In actuality, will that solve our security challenges? So, let us call for various people's opinion on this.
About this Okada now, most of the people that are riding this Okada, most of them are graduates. Do you understand? Whereby they go, maybe they've offered them the job where they pay them 40,000, 30,000 at the end of the month. They don't earn anything. But by riding this Okada, they earn more than that. Like this one I'm using now as a dispatch. My dear, if I tell you what I'm making from this Okada, you will not believe it. And even somebody, if somebody want to give me work now, except you can be able to pay me up to 100 and above. That's where I can accept salary. Say you have to pay me salary. If you are not paying me up to 150, I will not come and work for you. Because this thing, within a month, I will get money more than that in a month. So when you say you are buying Okada, if you buy this Okada, millions of youth now working on this pass. Most of us have bike on our own. We are using it, and they say they will ban it. So it is not sounding well. Honestly, it's not sounding well. The government will say what they want to ban it is not sounding well. They say look at people, look at the youth. If most of the youth are doing this work to survive, they feed their family with it. Okay, if they ban this Okada, what are they going to give them? Whose work? Work for 40,000, 50,000. Me, I cannot go do work of 50,000 as I am now. Really, I can't. One of my friends called me last time and say, Yoga, say they will pay me 60-something thousand. I say, bros, forget that 60,000. That 60,000 you are talking about in a week, I'll get the money. In a week, this work I'm doing. From Monday to Saturday, I get that 60,000 naira from this account. Really. So they say I just saw yourself about that work. I'm not coming to do any salary work for now. I will not. So if they ban this Okada, my dear, the thing will really affect me. This insecurity we are talking about. If they ban this Okada, the thing will increase more. Okay, that's why I'm saying that because our boys are getting the bike, all those bikes in NASA, they are starting our boys bike almost every day. I don't know why. Okada people, those people when they ride the Okada, normal Okada, some of them they vex because where they collect their bike. Some of them they vex say why did they collect their own bike? That they leave us will be this one. That they leave us, they collect their own bike. Some of them they vex that they collect our boy bike. Honestly, I'm telling you, that they vex that they collect some of our boys bike almost every day. That they use golf, they collect. Some they use if they drive they will use something hit you. Then until you fall down, they'll carry your bike. For Abuja here alone, my dear.
So what do you propose for government in such?
My dear, I'm appealing to.
Since government is skeptical about the issue of
banning the Okada.
Insecurity. You understand? So what do you propose for them?
Okay, what I'm proposing to them is to at least before they can be able to ban this Okada, my dear. Okay, I'm proposing to them that they should just allow the dispatch to do their job. There's no ban because if they ban it, my dear.
Talk about registration also.
The
registration of bikes now. You know that will
yes.
If I talk about
the only thing they feel to let them put the normal registration. If you have bike, if you buy a bike now, you register it, put your plate number. Without your plate number, they'll know you and you have your paper. So there's putting second point whereby they can be able to check it. I think that is all. where they can be able to check it. If you then check it, yes, if your bike commit crime, they will know your plate number. Do you understand? They know your plate number, they will trace it. I think that's the best way.
Thank you very much. Tell me your
That's
name.
the best way. My name is Victor.
The issue of government banning motorcycle or bike in general, I don't think it's a nice issue to me, because like we in, let me say, in the rural area in Pape here where we live, I think this bike is the most easiest means of transportation. We get access to our farms, we get access to other, like I myself am a contractor. I normally use bike to access most of the properties easily. So now if government will ban bike like place like Pape, I don't think it is advisable. They should look at other alternatives. If they say they banned bike in FCT, Abuja, that is the heart of the town, that one is advisable. But coming to the rural area, bike is the only means of transportation that will be easier for us to locate the nearby villages, and the rest of them going to our farms, and the rest of going to work in the nearby village. Because even if you want to use a car, the roads are not accessible like that. So the bikes are more better for us. So please, for the issue of banning bikes in FCT in general, I don't think it's a welcome issue to me. In terms of security implication, when you say bandits using bikes, bandits also use cars now. So I don't think that one is an issue. There is still measures to that government can put in tackling their security issue, not in issue of individual using bike. At least bike is something that at least we, the low income earners, we need it. It's a necessity to us. What I propose is if government will make a provision of, if any bike user should be a registered, at least if possible, every bike should have a plate number and duly registered with the government. I think that would ease the security and this thing
in this country. And this so many lack of job opportunities is one of the factors responsible for this youth going into Okada. So with this pronouncement say they will stop Okada, if they take this action, you don't know who is doing this Okada. It will create more havoc to this country. There's no job in the country. No industry is functioning. Nothing. So youths are relying on this Okada thing of 18, and the government is saying is banning it. So I'm not subscribing to that. I don't support this idea at all. It will create more havoc in as much as there's no work in this country. I suggest government should create job opportunity for youth before bringing this idea.
What about registration of bikes?
It's very, very good. It will be very, very good. The registration of bike. Registration of bike. With they should have something like what do you call it? A
Vest.
A vest and helmet that will determine.
So you just say it again.
That let them have a jacket that will say that will determine this is an Okada man and who is not an Okada man. A registered Okada with a number plate. It will help for the security operatives to detect who are the Okadas and who are not Okadas. If not, without it, you wouldn't know who is who on the Okada.
Yes, it is that your program, my program, our program. Nationalism and You is that program that beckons on us children of the system of Nigeria to be a participant in the process of nation building. Calling on you as individual to be an ardent, loyal, devoted nation builder. And we are still on this morning on ITV, your program of choice. I am Ebenezer Oyetaki, and we are taking the first segment of discourse this morning, Democracy and the Limits of Liberty. It has been the opinion of so many people that democracy is a choice of the rule of law. But some also think democracy is all about the freedom. With me to discuss and look at this topic this morning is Barrister Oyenevo Otemu. Barrister Oyenevo Otemu is an astute legal practitioner and socio-political analyst. You're welcome to our studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Before we proceed to that, you saw the commotion at the Senate yesterday. Some of them calling for the impeachment of the president, some of them resisting the motion being moved. Your take. Yes, but before we go there, we have not taken our allegiance. Nationalism and you.
It is my duty and responsibility to build this nation.
Very well. So, Cruz.
Yes, that motion of yesterday came too late.
Okay.
Very, very late. But I'm also happy that some persons are also waking up from their sleep and slumber.
Okay.
It is better late than never. Now, no matter how cosmetic you want to look at that motion, and the way, if you look at the way the country is going, the way the current administration is piloting the affairs of this nation, you will not, I don't think anybody will have any, even those who are in the party, in the APC party, I don't think they will have any hesitation to commend the senators who attempted to move that motion. Because the president has gone to sleep. And even he by himself, there is a comment he made where he said, he cannot wait to see himself leave the Aso Rock. That statement alone is a very serious statement. It means he has given up totally.
Many people did not see it like that. Many people thought he was making that statement in respect of assuring Nigerians that, because it was in context, assuring Nigerians that I am not going to stay a day longer than necessary when I complete my term. I thought it was, many people thought it was
the issue of him,
a democratic assurance.
The issue of him staying a day necessary is not even on the table.
Okay.
Under no circumstances will he even want.
We have seen an attempt to doctor the Constitution to continue.
At some point, yes, I understand. But that, between me and you know that can, even if that happened during the Obasanjo era.
Okay.
At least within the Obasanjo era.
So maybe he was just in that context assuring Nigerians that this democracy, I am not going to hold on.
Well, if he was thinking that there was even any room for that before, then he must be dreaming. Yes, because he has brought this nation below expectation.
That is your opinion. Many people have a contrary opinion.
Yes,
now, the processes of impeachment of a president, you know how tedious it is. Even to impeach a governor and the rest of it. Many Nigerians think that they were only playing politics, the people that came up with this.
Yes. I must, the way our constitution is couched, they made it so that people will not just wake up overnight and remove a good president from position.
Okay.
That is the essence. Not the essence was not really to protect bad president in power, but the essence of those clauses, why the procedure is made stringent, is so that people will not wake up overnight and remove somebody who is working a good president, because any president who want to really work will step on toes, will step on the toes of politicians. Okay. That is the truth. So in order not to give them an easy tool to be able to pull a good president from his office, that was the reasons the condition to impeach a president and a governor has been made a little bit stringent. And so for this Senate to be able to actualize that, it's I don't think it is possible. I don't think it is possible.
Well, away from that, our topic, democracy and the limits of liberty, call it freedom. How much of liberty should we take? Do we take all of the liberty and freedom? Is that what democracy espouses?
You see, every obligation, every right, every law that is made has its limits.
Okay.
Yes, there's freedom of expression, freedom of worship, freedom of movement, freedom. There are so many freedoms in the Constitution, Chapter 2 of the Constitution, from Section 33, from 33 to 46, talks about the liberties, the rights. Those are the rights of every human being.
Okay.
However, the rights are not limitless. Whether in a democracy or in any form of government, particularly in a democracy, which is a constitutional democracy like that of Nigeria, everybody's right has limits. Where my rights end, that is where your own starts from. And in order for a proper governance, government also has a right to curtail certain rights. That is why government can wake up and impose curfew. And once curfew is imposed, it means you can no longer move within that period. That is a legitimate way of limiting the right to freedom of movement. If you commit an offense and the court convicts you, though you have a right to life, every human being has a right to life, at that point, the law, government has been given the power to take the life, legitimately take the life of people. There are other conditions that life can be taken. A policeman is about to arrest you and you are running away. The police is giving opportunity. If he feel you have committed a serious offense, he's giving opportunity to shoot you in order to bring you down or to apprehend you. In the course of doing that, if you die, you have also died legitimately. So yes, because he is doing his work, you were expected to stay for him to arrest you. And so, where the right of one man ends, naturally, that is where the right of another person starts. And government is given the power to regulate within the ambit of the law and not to also exercise their power arbitrarily too. Government is given the power to regulate the rights and limit rights for proper governance and sane society.
Now, you will understand that democracy across the world, they are not all of the same costume,
of course,
or definement,
yes,
and the rest of it. That presupposes that according to the challenges of a nation, democracy should be defined in such a way that a quantum of freedom that is needed to navigate a particular nation is taken rather than taking all the freedom. What is your take on this?
Like I said, that quantum of people's rights that the democracy takes is already codified. Okay. It's already there in the Constitution. It's there in several laws. So it is not also left for the people in power to unilaterally take decisions and or decide to curtail people's rights arbitrarily. They must also lay down procedures of law and act within the limits given to them to curtail those rights. If not, democracy will automatically turn to autocracy or militarycracy.
We have heard many times when people say, even when government want to take some certain decisions that appears to be altruistic, some people will say, maybe in a particular manner, some people will say, you can't go there, we are in democracy. And some people are of the strong opinion that we, particularly in Nigeria, we have tolerated a lot of democratic licentiousness in the name of democratic freedom. For example, a godfather escorted his godson into governance as a governor. And over a year or two in governance, he kidnapped him. There is a law that says if you overthrow a constitutional government, you are either jail. Even in Nigeria, there is even death penalty.
Of course.
So a constitutional government was overthrown at the beginning of this democracy, and nothing happened to the person for 24 hours and the rest of it. Many people are still of the strong opinion that those were the democratic licentiousness that led to people to understand that if a governor can be kidnapped for 24 hours, then kidnapping can be trade among us. Then things of that nature, many of it, instances. So what do you say about this?
Okay, so now for someone to kidnap a governor,
okay,
that is not democracy. There's no democracy anywhere in the world, not even in Nigeria, that has given anybody that freedom, that right to do that. But because of failure on the part of government, on the part of those who have been governing us, to implement the laws, just like you said, it is treason on its own.
Okay.
It is a very grievous offense to do that. But because probably the man who did that, who committed that offense, is loyal or close to the power that be, and in this case the president, you will see that nothing will happen to that person. So many things have happened in the name of freedom. People have done so many things in the name of we are in a democracy. It does not necessarily mean that the people who are doing those things have the right, the constitutional or legal right to do those things, to do certain things. If there are laws, just as you said, that is an offense already. And a law has been breached for kidnapping a governor. Haven't done that, somebody ought to have been arrested, prosecuted, and convicted, which means punished. So that is the responsibility that the law imposes on government or those in governance to implement. But because in Nigeria there is so much of impunity, government over government, in fact, from each regime, the level of impunity increases from one regime to the other. And so because of those impunity, you see people, those in government, not implementing the law. If the laws are properly implemented, every man has his or her limits in law. Your freedom is regulated, is limited. But in even implementing it, you must also implement the laws in line with rule of law. Because rule of law presupposes that every man is equal under the law.
Now, let us look at it from the other angle. Under democracy, we sold national assets at giveaway prices to proxies. Assets like the national power generating and the distributing the companies and things of that nature. And these things becomes more dysfunctional even after we have sold them. They said there were conditionality that were stringently placed on them so that they cannot be retrieved. All of this happened in the name of democracy. What is your take on this? Are these not democratic licentiousness that are destroying the fabric of nation development?
Yes. Like I said, thank God you have cited one of the examples. Now, the law is very clear. If you look at the activities of the discourse,
yes,
the companies that were bought over, like you said, by cronies, okay, that they sold to themselves, using one hand to sell and using another hand to buy back. If you look at the activities, there's no way you will not identify them breaching one point of the bargain or the other. And when those breaches are established, government has a power to revoke those contracts. Government has the power to invoke their own rights over those contracts. But between me and you, let's be frank with ourselves. Is this government willing to do that? Do they have the moral strength, the energy to do that? No. They don't have that capacity. They don't have that intention. They are all the same people.
Are you sure they don't have that capacity, or they don't have the political will to do it?
That is it. That's the capacity I'm talking about. That is the capacity. It is that political will that will.
But many people said the conditionality that is attached to those sales will make that the government will pay back to those people in trillions. Democratic licentiousness again.
Oga?
Yes.
As a lawyer, if you give me the contract those discos signed with government while they were buying those discos, I will sitting here point over 100 breaches. And once there are breaches, the other person who is suffering the breach has a right to invoke his power to terminate the contract. Every contract must have a termination clause. And so you cannot be breaching a contract and benefit from the breach of the contract. These are people who bought over the discos. They didn't invest a dime into the discos. They have into our electricity infrastructure. Nothing. If you have light in your street, it is the possibility that your street gather to buy your transformer.
Now, we are rounding up.
So they have breached terms of those contracts that can be invoked. But those who are in power they don't have the will, because they are this one and the same persons.
I remember in one of my trips to Egypt, I met an American citizen, about 65 years old, and he said to me that you people in Nigeria, you said you are running democracy, but what you are running democracy, you just enter your democracy and you are privatizing it at the same time, and that your privatization did not even qualify as a privatization, but a personalization. Exactly. Then he said that is a democratic suicide and things of that nature. And late Prince Tony Mormon said democracy presupposes that you should take the quantum of freedom you needed to develop at your own pace, not all the freedom. Your last word in respect of these two iconic quotes. Your last words to the nation and to the people in government.
So what you said, that Egyptian said, is very, very
correct. American
in Egypt said is very, very correct. The problem in Nigeria is those who have found themselves into power have seen it as an opportunity to enrich both themselves, their cronies, and their families. And so you've seen a pattern where national infrastructure has been sold to themselves. Look at what is happening in Abuja today. Almost all the properties that were confiscated by EFCC from persons from the previous government, that's from the PDP government, have now been reacquired with almost free of charge by people who are in this government.
Your last word.
And so Nigerians should sit tight. Nigerians should know that this country belongs to all of us. It is in our hands. We have to wake up from our sleeps and slumber and take power back to the people.
Power back to the people. Democracy is not a license for wrong permissiveness and all of the freedom. It is about the freedom that can enable us to develop. Let us do the right thing. Thank you for being our guest this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry for disturbing your sleep with the rain.
Thank you very much.
We hope you will make yourself available to us when we beckon on you.
Inshallah.
Don't change the channel, because we are expecting to sail into another segment of discourse immediately after this.